So when we say with any point of performance testing, like whether it comes to load or stress or spike or any type of testing, so they have a way of introducing the load. So what does it differs when it comes to load testing and volume testing is, in load testing you will not make any changes to the backend. So when I say backend, to the database, so you'll not make any change to the databases. So when it comes to volume testing, you will set up different set of volumes in your data. So for example, when you test an application which is very newly built, which is like from scratch, that application will perform very well. And the reason behind that is you will have very less number of data in your database. So any search or any update or any kind of database activity will be very quick because you have less number of data. So the request will take less number of time to process the entire database, right?
Exactly.
But when it comes to an application which is a legacy application, or an application which is a kind of an old application, or it's a huge application and it has huge number of users, in that scenario the application will go slow. So that's why we bring in the performance testers, where we used to ask for more database tuning suggestions like indexing, or to introduce multiple ways of reducing the latency it takes in the databases. So when it comes to volume, again you're going to make few changes. So for example, there is a scenario where we used to test the databases with 50% of data, and then with 100%, and then with 200%, to see how does the load or how does the response times comes with different levels of databases or different size of databases.
But we are just focused on the quantity of information, but not on different quantity of users. Just that.
So you're saying, okay, so I just have a doubt here. So is that, did they tell you that you have to do a volume testing, or what was the objective? Like, what do you really want to find?
We just want to, for example, if we just want to make sure how does the application behaves when I load a certain quantity of information, and with different sets of quantity of information, how does the application behaves with that? So definitely, if I say that, definitely it's logical to use different kind of users. Is that
So then it comes under load test. So
okay?
you're going to do a load test with different number of users. Say for example, like what with 100 or with 200 or and with then 300. Like you are going to increase the number of users. So we normally used to confuse the numbers as volume. So it's when you talk about volume is something related to the databases or to the backend data or to the size of the machines. Because again, when it comes to volume testing, there is a concept of scaling out or scale up. Like you will increase the number of machines, number of CPU. Again, that is a part of the volume testing. But when it comes to your point, it's the point of testing the load of how many users, how does the application is going to behave when you're going to increase the number of users.
For example, if in my application I have a process of importing information into the application, and if I want to see how does the application behaves when I import 500 records, and then what does the application, how does the application behaves when I import the double of that quantity of records, and then the triple of that quantity of of records. So if I want to see though that behavior of the application with importing the information with that different quantity sets, what will be that? Is that a volume test or a load test?
So when you say you're going to increase the number of uploads, so what is your approach? So for example, like you're going to start first test, right? The first test you're going to do it with 100 users, right? Or with, just
No,
an
let's
example.
say I want to load the application with 500 records, an example, and then I want to
No, when you
see.
say 500 records, are they going to get uploaded one after other or at the same time? Are
No,
they concurrent
first,
or one after the other?
no, first I want to see how does the application behaves when I load 500 records. I want to see how long does it take, how much the CPU uses, the memory,
Yeah, exactly. That's my
the resource.
question. So when you say you're going to upload 500 data or 500
Exactly.
records,
I want to check what are the time the application takes to load that information. How does the resources behave? And then after I finish that, I want to make another load of 1,000 records and then
yeah,
check the same things.
got it. Got it.
So in that case, would it be a volume test
So my question here is, when you are going to upload the data, you're going to
into the
put in the
application?
file as a file or as a record entry. How
I
does it going to
I
approach?
can upload it through a file.
File, got it.
I can
So,
take the application to upload a file, or I
okay,
can send that information through an API, or I can
yeah,
send
okay.
that in different ways.
Good. So my question is, so when you're sending as an API or you're going to upload it as a file, you're going to do the first file and then the second file and then the third file, or
Exactly.
okay. So then it's again a single user test, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So in that case, I would say that is not at all a load test, because you're not going to give any load to the system, because you're just going to do, or you're going to upload just one after the other, which is just, there is, see, there is a load, but it's just a one user load, which is very less. And you're going to just upload one after the other. So in this scenario, if you really want to know the performance of the application, what I would suggest is you have to do that with at least 100 users, minimum 100 users, and each user should upload 5 documents one after the other. So what happens is 100 users will upload 5 documents. Each user will upload 5 documents one after the other. So that will actually give some pressure to the system, and will, you can see how does the application performs, and your objective of uploading 500 files will happen with 100 users in a very short time. Because just remember, when you are uploading 500 users one after the other, and just remember, one, if one file takes a minimum of like 10 seconds, then just imagine how much time will it take for uploading 500 at the
But
same
that,
time.
but that wouldn't correspond to the reality of using the application. For example, I'm gonna give you more context of it. This is an application that is used during the day by different users, but those users usually they are not going to load that information. It's just a process that is run during the nights that
Bad
is
job,
going
kind
to
of.
exactly a scheduled job that is going to take that file. I don't know, at 1 a.m. In the morning, or 2 a.m. It's going to take that file and it's going to upload that information. It is important that in the morning, when all of the people start working, this information is already on the
System,
application.
yeah, yeah.
So that's why I was thinking of just one thread loading that information, and I need to make sure that in the morning, whatever, if it is 500 records, 1,000 records, or whatever, the application has already finished. So we just want to make sure that for the quantity of information, the resources that we have on the application and assigned to the server correspond. So the information is going to be ready in the morning. So that's what I was thinking of. Okay, I'm going to simulate that uh, information, and to know how much does it take to run the process of importing information with just one thread.
Okay, okay. So I would come up with the same way that you're telling. So when you want to upload or do the file upload with one user, I would say the application would perform very well. Okay, because just one user, it will not at all impact any of the performances or any of the CPU or memory. It will work very fine. But when, if you really want to do some load, or if you really want to give some load, then you'll have to increase the number of users. So are you really trying to simulate the scheduled job load? Is
Yes,
it?
I
Ah,
will
okay.
say, that that scheduled job, it will be like the one thread that I will put in the JMeter. So uh, why are you saying that it is exactly necessary to do that, and why are you saying that if I put, I don't know, different quantity of information, it wouldn't affect the CPU?
The lesser number of users, the lesser load you're giving to the system. So when you're increasing it, you can.
but
So
but the quantity of information is not also a variable to using to change the usage of the resources of the server? I mean, like the usage of the resources of the server is not also affected by the quantity of information that I give into the application.
Okay, okay. So, okay, let's come back to the point number one. So, what exactly is your objective? Like, what do you really want to test, or what do you really want to see in the application?
I want to make sure that I want to know what does the how does the application behaves when in a scheduled job loads 500 records, and then how does it behaves when I load 1,000 records, and then different kind
Oh,
of
okay,
sets.
okay, got it, got it. So, let me tell you,
And
like, just correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah.
how long is it going to take
Ah,
with the
okay, okay,
different sets,
okay.
and if it's going to end at a certain time or not.
Okay, so you want to replicate the scheduled job scenario and see how
Exactly.
does it work. Okay, got it.
Exactly.
So my question here is, how does the scheduled job works? Does it upload one file at a time, or how much file does it upload each second?
I can have a scenario in which it's going to upload one file, or it could be also a scenario in which it is going to upload two or three or four different types. But
Okay.
we can start, for example, with one
Yeah.
file with a lot of records.
Okay. So in that scenario, I would say if you really want to replicate that scenario, then just go with the load what the scheduled job has. And then you can slowly increase the number of users to see how does it really works.
Okay, so every file uploading will be like a thread.
Yes, yes. Every
Ah,
file is every user is one thread. I mean, like the number of connections to the machine is just one user.
okay. So in that case, I will be able to do it with JMeter and simulating
Yep.
each uploading
Yes.
process of each file with different threads.
Yes, and you have to replicate that scenario with the same level first, and then you can slowly increase, and make sure you have the same number of records so that you can emulate the real situation, the same situation what the scheduled job does. So make sure that you have at least the same number of records. Don't just reduce it, or don't just increase it, because then you might get a idea that it does not perform well. So have the same number to emulate with the number of users, and then slowly you can increase it so that you can understand how does it work.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Okay, yeah.
I understand. And in that case, for example, you have explained in the video, in one of your videos, that the arrivals thread group, which is a kind of, I have it here, I'm going to share that with you.
Okay.
Would you recommend to use, for example, the arrivals thread group, or would it be better in that case to have just a simple thread group with correlation, as you have explained it, and in the video, and play with the different number of threads?
Yeah, I would recommend you to try with the thread group, the normal one with correlation, because here you can set up the number of the iterations. Whereas in the other thread groups, you'll have to set up the think time and other ways to control the iterations. But here, this one it's a very like a crystal clear way of setting up the number of users and the iteration. So you can use this one for at least for your scenario, because the scheduled jobs runs this way. It sets up the number of iterations and the users, so you can use this one.
Oh, okay. And for example, when we use this simple thread group, I guess that because, or I'm not sure, would it be useful to use these reports or not? The active threads over time
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
bytes
you
over
can
time.
see it. Yeah, because this will show you. Anyways, it's going to show you like the same one thread at the, during the entire duration. So yeah, and you can also see the bytes throughput over time. So yeah, it's always useful. You can watch, but I would recommend you if you're using with lesser load, you can use the GUI model. And if you want to run it through, I mean, like if you're running a long duration of test, I would recommend you to use a non-GUI mode, because otherwise your system might get hanged. So that's another point, because even if you see now, your system would be utilizing large amount of CPU in your machine. So I would recommend when you're running with multiple users and when you're doing multiple actions like upload and those actions, so that will actually take a lot of CPU and memory from your machine.
And when you say non-GUs, it means like not using the user interface. Is that?
Yeah, using the command line interface, yeah, you can run the test.
But how can I set up here in the application in JMeter? Is there a parameter that I should check out, set up in here?
You mean when you want to run it as a okay? So when you are running through non-GUI, you will not be able to see the graphs. At least these graphs. You can see the response times, which will automatically get. Okay, I will say it the other way. So just save this same JMX file, run it in a GUI mode, and then at the end you will get the results, and then you can bring in the results, and if you open it through the file, you can see the results here.
And do you have any video in which you show how to do that?
The non-GUI, yeah, there's a video for that. Yeah, the non-GUI mode. I can send you the link.
Please, it will be very
Yeah.
useful for me.
Sure, I can send you the link.
The opposite side will be to run it this way as I have it in here, but it will take more time because of the GU.
It will take more resources. It will not take time, but if you can even go now, if you see your task manager, the Java process, which is responsible for this one, will take a lot of memory on the CPU.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's the reason we normally, if you are running a long duration of test, we normally recommend you to run in a CLI mode, the command line mode.
So even if I run it with that mode that you are telling me, I will get the summary report here.
Yes, you'll get it.
Okay. Yeah. And that is where I have another question. For example, I think it is in one of the last video that you have shown the report. I think I have it here. This report here.
Yeah.
So, for example, in that case, let me just go back to the JMeter. So, for example, in that case, you mentioned the hits. Would it be will that correspond to the samples?
Yeah, the number of hits is the number of samples. Yeah, that's right.
So, and that means every time the user makes a request.
Yes, correct.
Oh, okay.
Sends a request to the server. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. And for example, if I understand from the beginning, even if I am going to do it with the GUI, even if I'm going to do that to create the test, I want to do it in the same way that I did it with the thread group, as you explained it in the video. So I am going to record it.
Yeah, that's good.
So, for example, if I am focused on the process of importing information, I'd including the login into the application wouldn't affect the results?
No.
Okay.
No.
I even that the results will give me information about the more load part, which is importing that information.
Sorry, I didn't.
The more heavy part.
Sorry, I didn't get that. Can you come again?
For example, here in the summary report, we are going to have no, I see now that my question doesn't make sense because here, I can differentiate the steps in which I am from which I'm going to obtain the samples. Yes. So, for example, I wouldn't focus my analysis of the report on the login part, which is this, for example, enter the site, enter credentials. I will be focused on the name of the transactions that are related with the loading. So, sorry, it doesn't make sense. Another thing that you have mentioned in your video was the past transactions and the failed transactions.
Yeah.
Could you please explain to me how did you obtain those columns based on this report, or is it not based on this report?
Okay, so if you can see for the first, the enter site, the error percentage is 50% for one of these.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and you have two samples, which means one has passed and one has failed.
Because of the 50%.
50%, yeah.
Okay. So it's based on the error percentage column that you have obtained this column on the...
Yeah, the failed transactions. Yeah, that's right. So the past is, if it is 50%, then one is passed, one is failed. So same way you can identify for all the transactions.
Okay.
So when it comes to enter credentials, I think none of them have failed. But for logout, there is one, I think both the transactions have failed. So you can see like 100%. So which means like both the transactions has failed.
And that's another thing. For example, when I record those actions with the test script recorder,
Okay.
I see that there are some actions that it automatically saves or record, even
They are not part of the application.
yes. For
Yeah,
example,
it happens. It happens. Yeah, because your machine has a lot of ports opening, ports opened already. So they used to keep on sending and getting back the request. So what I would suggest is just select those requests and delete them. If you really, it's not part of the application. So you can
yes. For
delete them.
example,
Yeah.
this one, as you can see,
Yeah.
it gave me like sometimes this, but sometimes it goes through.
Mm-hmm.
And so it means that when I have something like this, and it is not something critical, like it is really the action that if it doesn't represent the really action that I wanted to
Yeah.
to
Can you
say,
click on
I
the
can
can you
remove
click on the request? The request
on the
tab.
request
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. So do you think this is a valid application?
A
And
valid part of the application.
okay, in that scenario, the PHP session ID, I think that needs to be correlated.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the reason it failed. So this is the one that has been recorded, but while replaying, you'll have to establish a new session with your machine and the server. So in case if it is not happening, then there will be failure. So that's the reason you're getting these failures.
Sorry, I didn't get that part. For example,
Uh-huh.
should I remove those the transactions in here that respond to that or not?
No, you should log out of your application every time. Otherwise, there will be like multiple sessions in your application, which will automatically result in memory leaks or garbage collections, like large garbage collections. So it's always a best practice to log out of the application whenever a user logs in. So
No,
keep the logout.
I understand that there should be a logout transaction, but the thing is, as you can see, for logout, I obtain all of this, but I just meant to have just once. So, for example, I see that, for example, regarding the logout, I just wanted to do one logout, but it recorded all of that. So should I just remove those that are not really the ones that I'm interested in?
Are they part of your application? Which means what I'm asking is, are they part of your request? Because sometimes what happens is the PHP are a valid request, but there are some other images like JS or some IMG or some other files which we might not need. Yeah, in that scenarios, you can delete them. You can just disable them.
Okay, so in which scenarios should I not delete them?
If they are like a valid request, something like this PHP or some valid that really uses your application. In some scenarios, some resources or some static resources, I would say. So those static resources, you can delete them or you can disable them.
And for example, in this case, which is something like you are saying is important,
Yeah.
what should I do in order to not obtain this error?
Do you have you correlated these values? I mean, if
This
you,
part, no. The correlation
okay, you have to
is
do
only
it,
in
yes,
the filter by code.
okay, in that case, you have to bring those values. I think if you are replacing that value since beginning, then that should automatically replace this value as well, based on a correlation technique.
Which value? This one?
Yes, yes.
Should I correlate it any? I will mean like before the logout.
Yeah. You can find that value, I think, by the time after you log in. I think that's the session, that's the time where you establish a session between your server and you.
Like here in the.
Yeah.
So I should do. I will guess that after the
I think can you
entering credentials.
enter credentials, yeah.
So after that,
Yes.
in any part in here,
You
I
should find
be
it,
able-
yeah. You should be able to find it, yeah.
Okay, so I will just try to follow the same steps that we
Yes.
follow with your instructions.
Yes. They're using the regular expression extractor. You'll have to find it.
In case that I don't get to obtain it, can I ask you any
No
questions?
problem. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Another questions that I had regarding the summary report is the response time. That will be the average.
Yes, that's the average response time. Yeah.
And for example, as you can see, I got logged in. I'm sorry, I got registered different transactions for the same
Yeah,
action.
yeah.
So, for example, if I want to analyze the response time for the action of entering credentials, I will have to take into account all of this or only one of them.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. How are you getting these many transactions? So
I don't
basically,
know.
any transaction should be just one. So
Exactly.
I think, can you click on the enter credentials, the 936 in the script,
In
the
the
left
script
side. Yeah, on the left.
936,
Yeah, yeah.
here.
Yeah, this one. So this is basically a HTTP request, and can you click on the top, the above the 936? There's a enter credential to the left. Yeah. So this is a transaction controller. So you must need to change this to a different transaction controller, something like a simple controller, so that all the transactions will be added to one particular transaction. So in case if you see my videos, you can see that even though a particular request has multiple transactions, everything will be like clubbed in one particular transaction. So they all come as a single transaction.
And how can I get that?
Yeah, can you right click that? Right click and change controller. No, change the fourth one.
Oh,
Yeah,
here. Okay.
logic controller to transaction controller. Transaction. Yep. Yeah.
That
Now
will
you
be all?
have to. Yeah, yeah, that's it. Now you can change for all the other controllers as well on the top. So for enter site, yeah, same.
For all of
same.
them?
Yeah, for all of them. Yeah. Oh, I
Can I
think.
do
Oh,
it at
wait.
once?
It's already there. Just a second. It's already transaction controller, but just a second. Yeah, transaction. Or else, yeah, transaction controller should be fine. Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, it's that. That's. Can you expand the enter site thing? Yeah,
The
the
enter
enter
site?
site. Yeah, and click on the first one. Yeah, the enter site. And that's a HTTP request. Okay. And okay, can you click on 931? This next one. It has a second access. Okay, so this all should come in the same one. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Can you try running one with just one user and let's see how does it work, and then
One user like this?
yeah, just one user, and no, just clear all the reports and everything, and let's see how does it work. Yeah. Yeah. To the summary report. That should be fine. It's coming. Yeah. Can you go to the summary report now? Oh, it's still coming as separate transactions.
Or
Okay, okay. We can add another listener. Can you right click on the test plan, add listener, and do we have summary? Okay, there is one. Okay, generate summary results. Can you select that?
Which one? Sorry.
Generate summary results. The fourth one. Yeah, yeah. This one, the fourth.
Generate summary
Yeah,
results.
yeah. And
We stop and we rerun.
yeah, yeah. That should be fine. Yeah, I can stop and run it again. Usually it should come. Maybe I can just go back and let you know. Yep. Results. Usually it should work fine. Or else can we use aggregate graph? Okay.
Graph.
No, yeah. Summary. There is another listener which is. Can you right click again on the test plan and listener aggregate report? Yeah, aggregate report. Yeah. Let's see whether we get it here, or otherwise we will have to make some changes.
Should I run again the test?
Yeah,
or-
yeah, yeah. I can start and run again.
It's still coming out in different transactions.
Yeah, I think it's because they all are a separate transaction. There should be a way actually to do this. I think we must need to make some changes. Uh, okay. Yeah, let's try one more thing. Can you open the enter site transaction?
The
The enter
enter,
site, yeah, the first one.
the first, ah, okay,
Yeah,
here.
yeah, the enter site. Can you expand? Sample distribution. No, 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 not that. Logic controller. Can you change it to simple? The simple
Simple,
controller, yeah, from bottom
here.
photo. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just change one, and then select one of the request. Okay, I think it's added. Okay, can remove that.
So it is added
Yeah,
by
yeah, you can
press.
remove that. Remove that. Yeah, you can just remove that simple controller. Yeah, just remove.
Remove.
Yeah, and change it to simple controller. The enter site. Yeah, change controller. Change.
Change, okay.
Yeah, to
Logic,
simple.
simple.
Yep. And then can you expand it again and select one of them, one of the requests, and can you uncheck the follow redirects just to check whether it works. Follow redirects, yeah, and do that for all the requests for all the 931, 930, and everything. Just for
Does it
follow.
work?
Yeah, yeah, follow redirects, yeah, and yeah, just
But
say
it has to be done for every one of them.
everything, yeah.
Okay.
Let's try. I think it should work basically, but
Yes.
okay, there is one more way where we can do. So what is that is, just go to enter site. Yeah, click on the enter site and add 01 underscore in front of enter site. No, in front, yeah, in front of enter site.
01?
No, no, okay, in front is a prefix
Oh,
to enter
sorry,
site. Yeah,
before.
Yeah, before that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll be, oh, sorry. 01.
01 underscore, yeah. And then same way for the enter credentials, 02.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what we can do in this way is we can filter out based on the numbers. So we can just take only those, so you don't need to worry about the other values. You can actually filter out.
Right now?
Yeah, yeah. Let's do for everything, and then we'll do a small test. Yeah.
05.
5, yeah, and 06 for the last one. Yeah. Yes, and now I can clear and run the test again. Yeah, now after this, you will get the enter site transaction, which handles the entire response times. It should come now. Yeah, so you got 2, and that is 1. We cannot see the 1. Okay, let's do one thing. Can you check? No, it should come, right? We're getting everything else. 2 is there, 3 is there. Okay, the test is not completed yet.
Isn't it weird that it hasn't shown me the
Yeah.
01?
Okay, yeah, let's do one thing. Just go to the 01 and expand that 01 to side and choose everything and do the check the follow redirects, because that's the only change we made, I think.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, maybe we can check it and try again. In that case, it should work, I guess.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with this, but let's try.
Okay.
Yeah, I can save this and yeah, clear it and run it once again. Let's see. And let's wait and see in the view results tree whether it comes here. It should normally come.
In this
Yeah,
one
the view
or in
results
this
tree.
one?
Yeah, the view results tree. Anything should be fine. It's both same. Yeah. So here, yeah. It should come now. 35. For some reason, it's skipping.
weird.
Yeah. some reason it's not showing. Okay, maybe what we can do is there is one more thing. Just right click and duplicate it.
This one?
Okay. Got it. We changed it to a simple transaction controller. Can you change it to transaction? Yeah,
Okay.
that's the
Yes.
reason. Yeah.
To
To the transaction controller.
transaction
Yeah,
control.
and just check whether we have the same thing for all the other one. Just the second one. No, just second one. Second. Yeah, it's a transaction, right? Yeah, it's a transaction. Yeah, so it should work. No, fine. It's same. Not a transaction. Yeah.
Should I do the same?
Yeah. You know, it's already there. It's already there. So that's why it's working.
How do you know it is already there?
Yeah, on the top, can you see? On the top
On the
of
top.
02, above enter credentials, can you see? No, on the right side of the screen,
Okay.
above 02, can you see the transaction control?
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
that's how we can see. Yeah, so here,
Okay,
yeah, that's how we can
all of them is
identify.
there.
Yeah. So I think that's the reason. So yeah, if you can stop and run it again.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
it's
it's
right
there.
there.
Yeah, it's there. So yeah, so some changes like this, yeah, will bring certain issues. Yeah, so now it's okay. So now if you come to the summary report,
To the summary report.
yeah, now you can find the transaction. So that's the response time for the first transaction. That's 754 is the average response time for this
Okay.
transaction. Yeah, so
And the
same way
same
for
thing
two.
for the
Yeah,
others.
yeah. So that's how we identify the response time for the entire, the aggregated one.
Great. So in that case, it'll be the average width, and the minimum
Yes.
will be
Yeah, it's there as minimum and
the
maximum.
other one.
Yeah.
Minimum, maximum.
Minimum is 0 because it's just one transaction. So when you run multiple transactions, you'll get a lot of minimum, maximum, average. And I would recommend you to use the percentile, which will actually give you a lot of information on the response times.
Which one? Sorry.
The percentile. So if you can you go to the aggregate report?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right
So-
click where?
No, on the aggregate report at the bottom, I think
Okay.
that should have, yeah, can you see 90%? Yeah, that's it. So this 90% is like close to the maximum, which tells you that this is the 90th user's response time. So that will actually give you an idea, because if you see the maximum and the 90th, 95th and 99 are closer. But when you see the average and the 99, 90, there'll be a huge difference. It's like double the number. So always it's a best practice to follow the 90th and 95, because they will give you a more idea on the response times rather than the average and minimum.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this minimum and maximum here would it
Yeah.
be the same that we had in the other report?
Report, yeah. So we normally used to add 90th percentile. So it comes like minimum, average, 90th and maximum, or it comes like minimum, maximum, average, minimum, average, maximum, and then we have a separate column for 90th percentile. So it gives you an idea, like, because when people see the average always looks very good, but it actually is not, because you have to like check how does the 90th response times is also. So we have to add the 90th percentile as part of the report.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So I will, in conclusion, I should base to obtain the table that you had in the video. I should base the information on this transaction that we have number.
Yes,
That
yes,
was-
these numbers. Yeah, that's right. We have to filter these numbers and then you have to use in the report.
Okay, great. And regarding the active threads over time and bytes throughput over time, I should base still my scenario, the one that I gave you before.
Yeah,
I
you can
base
use
it in
this. Yeah, you can
this
use
graph.
this report. You can, graphs, no worries. It will work.
But for example, in this case, I see that it has like it's very steady. How can I say that? Very
Yeah,
stable.
it's very steady because you are running with one user.
Exactly. So when I see when I have different users, when I increase the number of users here, it should show like the
It will increase, yeah, for
Exactly.
every amount of time. For example, like the first user will log in at like 10th second, and the second user will log in at the 15th second, and they will keep on hitting the system steadily.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how can I say that there's something wrong, and that is demonstrated on the graphs when the graph shows a peak, a very high peak, or
Or is there any other way that I can identify or to read that as a big error or something that is not going on well?
Yes, you can see that in a way, like if, for example, the users will be on the higher end, like for example, the maximum number of users. But when you see the bytes throughput over time, that is the data that you're sending to the server, and they will be very less. See, for example, if you're hitting 100 users, the amount of data should be same, right? But what happens is the amount of data that you send will start to come down or will start to reduce, because even though you're sending the data to the server, they are not accepted by the server and they will keep them on queue. So the bytes throughput over time will start to fall down. So that shows that there is a bottleneck.
Oh, okay. Do you have a video in which you talk about that?
Currently, I don't have a
I think
real-time
that's the next.
application, but yeah, I
That's
can. Yeah, I can bring you one.